with Trevor Ombija.
Good evening. You're just in time for the Monday Report. Thank you for staying with Citizen TV. Later on, we'll have a conversation here on police in politics. We've seen quite a number of incidences where there's an unholy alliance between police, goons, and political rallies where tear gas is lobbed. This evening, we'll be speaking to Joe Newt, who is a senator for Murang'a. He's been a victim of that as well. And Dan Manzo is a senator for Makueni. He was actually in the Nyamakima tear gassing this morning. Munene Mugambi is a deputy director inspection, monitoring and preventive services at the IPOA. We'll find out whether they're taking action against rogue police officers. And Charles Owino is here as a director, National Communications Center, but he's also the former police spokesperson. So we'll find out from him what is the role of police when it comes to political rallies. Are they apolitical, as is said, or not? That conversation coming up in just a bit, but we're not the only ones here. Emmanuel Ndungu is standing by with the latest in the sporting world. Emmanuel, what's going on?
Good evening. Yes, I'm very good. Thank you very much. And I hope all of you are well at home as well. We have a special report coming on the state of international sevens rugby from our sports editor, Mike Akinyi. And we also have some news on Rally Sweden, because the Safari Rally is just around the corner. So a lot of news in there.
Brilliant. Looking forward to that. But our top stories tonight.
Ikiwa watu wako kwa barabara ni rally, ni ngumu pate raia anatumia kuna bunduki. Ni hao wenye wanatulinda ndio kuna bunduki.
Killed by police, but why? A family of 28-year-old man shot dead in ODM Kitengela rally identified his body as charged political leaders condemn police attacks on political meetings. Another attack on political leaders. Police lobbed tear gas on united opposition at Nairobi's Nyamakima, disrupt their planned meeting. Flight delays and cancellations. Tens of flights delayed at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport as aviation workers strike disrupt services.
I like how you look. I like how...
Arrest order for Russian sex pest. Government launches manhunt for Russian linked to sexual exploitation of Kenyan women.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Yula Nzale. So a day after chaotic scenes witnessed at a rally in Kitengela, it has now emerged that one person was shot dead during the fracas. The family of Vincent Ayomo identified the body of the 28-year-old at Nairobi City Mortuary and are now demanding for justice for a man who was allegedly on his way home from work. Our reporter Ode Francis returned to Kitengela and filed the following report.
Kitengela town once again finds itself at the center of political unrest. What began as a peaceful rally ended in chaos, with confrontations between police and residents, leaving one man dead. The victim, 28-year-old Vincent Oyamo, a father of one, was allegedly struck by a police bullet.
Tukababana polisi, hakuna polisi anakuja kuchukua mwili. Ndio tukaambiana kama vijana mwili ichukuliwe ipeleke kwa barabara. Tukaipeleka kwa barabara, polisi wanatupita na kuruza bila kuchukua mwili. Mwili ikachukuliwa kutoka hapo ikapelekwa Rugby hapo karibu na Bizaini. Hakuna mwili walichukua. Mwili tena kuweka kwa barabara ikakuja ikapitwa na gari juu. Ile uchungu yenye tumepata hiyo usiku hatuwezi elezea.
We returned to the scene where Vincent was shot. It's back to business here, but beneath the surface. Witnesses allege Vincent was shot between 5 and 6 p.m. His wife, however, learned of his death much later.
Nikapigiwa simu na rafiki ya bwanangu, akaniambia bwanangu amepigwa risasi akivuka barabara kutoka kazi. Akikumuuliza akaniambia jamuona, ndiye anaenda kumuona. Kufika leo ikabidi tumtafute kwa mochari iko karibu Kitengela, hatukumpata. Ikabidi tukuje City Mochari, tukaconfirm tukampata. Tumpata amepigwa risasi kwa jicho imetokea nyuma.
Friends recount the tense hours leading up to the shooting, painting a picture of police provocation.
Huyo mzaka uliza kama wanaweza tubebea mwili wapeleke tu basi kumzike juu ashakufa. Tulijibiwa kwamba tuongoje vijana watulie ndio watabeba.
Human rights activists now accuse the Independent Policing Oversight Authority IPOA of failing in its mandate. They argue that despite clear evidence against officers in similar incidents, accountability remains elusive.
we are asking the Inspector General of Police, we are tired of your statements that every time a young man is killed, you keep on claiming that we await postmortems, and after postmortems, we'll arrest. We have been playing our part, including facilitating postmortems, counseling services, and all those kind of support. How comes IPOA is not dispensing justice? How comes there are many police officers that have killed young Kenyans and they are still walking scot-free, still using the same guns that they have used to kill Kenyans?
Post-mortem examination on the body of Vincent Oyamo will be conducted later this week.
Ode Francis, Citizen TV, Kitengela, Kajiado County.
A day after an attack on political rally in Kitengela, police were at it again, this time lobbing tear gas and disrupting a rally organized by the United Opposition in Nairobi's Central Business District. The incident happened moments after the opposition leaders led by the Democracy for the Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua and Wiper Patriotic Front Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka arrived at the Nyamakima for a political meeting. And as Seth Olale now reports, the political leaders have vowed to stage a mega protest on Friday to protest failure by the Inspector General to arrest officers involved in disrupting political rallies.
Tear gas lobbed at the busy Nyamakima trading area, downtown Nairobi's Central Business District, where leaders of the United Opposition were addressing a political rally. The incident cutting short speeches from DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, Wiper Patriotic Front party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, and DAPK's party leader Eugene Wamalwa.
Kwa nini wanaumiza akina mama? Kwa nini wanaumiza watoto?
The right to assemble is an important constitutional right.
Amen.
The disruption occurring moments after the United Opposition had sought audience with the Inspector General of Police without success, resolving to storm the IG's office at Jogoo House Block A on Friday during a planned protest.
Ati mpaka mkuu wa polisi ataamua ni lini atakutana na viongozi ambao ni viongozi ambao wako wanaheshimika na Kenya nzima. Sisi tunazungumza kwa niaba ya Wakenya wote.
And when we come, we expect none other than IG Kanja himself to be here.
Effectively, the National Police Service is no longer independent. The CS is supposed to interact with the police on policy matters only, not on operations.
The opposition leaders demanding the immediate resignation of Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo, and Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja over persistent disruptions of political rallies organized by the opposition.
Mutakuja Jogoo House. Saa 2 ndio huyu Inspector General atujibu kwa nini polisi wanavamia kanisa zetu.
Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua ako na haki yake ya kikatiba kuongea na watu wa Kenya.
Utaajibika kwa Wakenya kwa madhambi mliofanya kule Othaya, kudhulumu wanawake na watoto kanisani.
The United Opposition, which vowed to remain united, announced that they are edging closer towards selecting its flag bearer for the 2027 presidential polls.
Tutatoa candidate moja wa kupambana na Kasongo. Wangapi wanasema tutoe mtu moja kung'ana na Kasongo mtu moja mtu.
Na kwa hivyo wangapi wanasema tuungane na ODM ya Raila, sisi zote tupeleke mtu jamaa mapema. Wangapi wako tayari? Wangapi wanasema tuungane na kina Sifuna na kina Babu Owino na kila mtu?
Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Nairobi County.
Now, church and political leaders have condemned the attacks on political meetings and urged the Ministry of Interior to act with speed and stop the attacks. Leaders warned that the attacks by police on opposition meetings, as witnessed in Kitengela yesterday, threatens to slide the country into lawlessness. Stephen Leto has the details.
The chaotic scenes in Kitengela town Sunday during the Linda Mwananchi rally has yet again put the National Police Service on the spot. The police coming into sharp criticism for muzzling opposition voices and using excessive force on Kenyans. head of the PCEA charge, Thegu Mutahi, led the charge in condemning what he has termed as constitutional violations on the rights to assembly.
Why is this happening? Yet we are not in the election year. What will happen in 2027 if this is the pace? So we are very concerned. Our security agencies must ensure there is no more lawlessness, particularly coming from their side, because who else has tear gas?
PCEA charge warned that the country is sliding into dangerous times and the police behavior is pointing to a red alert during the 2027 general election. Pending investigations on the attack of the Witima ACK church in Othaya also coming into question.
Like what happened in Othaya, nobody has been arrested to date. Are they waiting for us to forget that that happened? Yet it was a very ugly thing. We need people arrested and taken to court, and the due process of the law taking its course.
The Edwin Sifuna-led team in a joint statement placed the chaos at the president's doorstep. The Sifuna team said, quote, President William Ruto and CES Kipchumba Murkomen bear direct personal responsibility for the violence by the police and hired goons in Kitengela for the unfortunate death of Vincent Ayomo, the injured, and for the destroyed private property. The Sifuna team accuses the government that they have chosen to unleash state violence on Kenyans instead of addressing the many challenges facing them. They wrongly believe that the use of state violence will deter Kenyans from exercising their political rights. End quote. They affirm that Kenyans will not surrender and live on their knees. Instead, they will defend their rights and use their votes to effect change through the ballot. Retired Chief Justice David Maraga also joined the long list of condemnation into the violence unleashed in Kitengela as thousands gathered for the Linda Mwananchi rally.
Those people were having a peaceful meeting. There was no cause whatsoever. There was no breach of peace whatsoever. The government has just panicked.
But we cannot continue to operate in a situation where people imagine they can manage how Kenyans think and associate using tear gas. That is not going to work.
They add that the chaos meted on the rally Sunday could slide the country into lawlessness. Stephen Letos, Citizen TV.
Let's get some quick reactions from my guests who are already in studio. Honorable Dan Manzo, Senator for Makueni, Munene Mugambi, Deputy Director Inspection, Monitoring and Preventive Services at IPOA, and Charles Owino, Director, National Communications Center, also the former police spokesperson. I'll start with you, Honorable Manzo. You were there earlier on in Nyamakima today. What triggered the use of tear gas there?
Yeah, first we were supposed to attend a meeting with the IG this morning, which had been confirmed for 10 a.m. And when we went to meet him, we found he had taken off. I would have expected somebody of his level to have made a telephone call and cancelled the meeting. And this is what now, meant our team to just to move. Well, they are just on their way out of town, and of course met huge crowds of people to greet them, to cheer them, and subsequently they addressed the people. I think even when we went to meet the IG, his office had a lot of police, already armed with the tear gas, rungus, and the other week when we went there, we were met with a little bit of, roughness. Yeah. They didn't want the members of parliament to join the party leaders. They insisted that the meeting was for party leaders only, which was not the case because we had been invited by respective party leaders to accompany. So you could see from beginning that the IG did not, give a good signal or goodwill. Yeah. And the person we met, who is the spokesman of the police, first of all, seemed not to have information as to the investigations going on in the matter in Nyeri, where a church was attacked. Yeah. And that shows a lot of lack of coordination between the police ranks and the office. Okay. And therefore, in my opinion, I think this tear gas was not provoked at all. There were also possible shootings, and I think this is an attempted assassination to the opposition leaders.
Okay, let me bring in Charles Owino on this. Under what circumstances should police disperse a rally the way they did today?
Which rally?
There was a meeting in Nyamakima today, Owino.
It's okay.
We just aired the story now.
First of all, I have information on their visit to Jogo House today, and their first meeting with the IG was on 30th of January 2026 about the Nyeri, the Othaya incident. And when they had meeting with the IG had humbly requested them to cooperate with the police in terms of investigations that were going on, and that there were complainants in this matter, apart from the church, and that they needed to have provided evidence, recorded statements to support. But you see, majorly the investigative wing that is handling this matter more so is IPOA. Maybe he will tell us more if the politicians have recorded statements with them as far as the Othaya matter is concerned, and if they have been cooperating with them in recording statements. Remember, there were vehicles that were destroyed during that particular time. I don't know whether the vehicles have been availed to them for scenes of crime, for photographing. As much as there may be disputes, as much as the police may not be seen to be doing the right thing, it is important to cooperate and ensure that investigations is done appropriately. I am happy that I'm with Honorable Manzo, who is himself an advocate and understands procedures of investigations. He's not a layman. And therefore, I would wish to say that that kind of cooperation is important. And equally, much of the time, you find that police officers take individual responsibility. And if there is any police officer that would be found culpable, and more so with IPOA, the art officer must face the full force of the law. From where I sit, I am aware that it would not be the interest of head of state to have police officers who would cause disruptions, especially to members of opposition, especially at this particular time. Because you will be giving them fodder and an opportunity to disrupt you. So that would not happen. So I think that within the police, there's a feeling that members of parliament have not cooperated. And today, the IG was in Embakasi to follow up developments on training there. And then I've also heard Honorable Manzo say that when they were leaving town, they met people at Nyamakima. I don't think there's a route that passes through Nyamakima leaving town, unless you intentionally want to go to Nyamakima and meet people. But that is not a problem. That is within their democratic right. So I would want, I think IPOA would be in a better position. And Trevor, this is the reason as to why I like history. In 2004, we said we wanted to have a civilian oversight who would be independent of the police.
Let's hear from
so they can tell us what they have done so far. We'll get into the substantive conversation in a short while. But Munene, how many officers have been convicted for excesses in service?
Thank you, Trevor. First of all, as authority, as IPOA, we join the rest of Kenyans in condemning these acts of violence, especially at a time like this. And I want to say that it's too early. IPOA is on the ground. It's been studying exactly what transpired today in the afternoon. And it is too early to say or to cast aspersions on the conduct of police. It's still early. But this evening, we issued a statement. It is out in the public domain, condemning these acts of violence. And so, Trevor, since 2023, during the Azimio demonstrations, all the way to the Gen Z 2024, and the recent one, this is Othaya and what happened today in the afternoon and on Sunday at Kitengela, we've been able to document all these incidents. The Azimio, we had 67 of them, 67 deaths that we recorded as documented as IPOA. Injuries, enforced disappearance in the context of public order management, inaction and armed misconducts. Gen Z 2024, we had 61, total of 61 deaths. The Gen Z, June 2025, that is the memorial, we had 27 decks. That is what we've been able to document so far. And in the course of these discussions, I'll be able then to provide a detailed breakdown on the number of cases that are before court being prosecuted. That's we are investigating under investigations that have been considered internally.
Okay.
And all that.
The question was how many have been convicted?
So quickly, the EPOA-led cases that are before court over time, over that since inception, Trevor.
Convictions, Mune.
Convictions, we have 47 police officers that have been convicted over time, not just during these, in the course of these demos, but over time. We've been able to record satisfactorily 47 officers have been convicted.
Stay with me, gentlemen. We're coming back to that discussion in just a short while. But for now, tens of flights were delayed or cancelled at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport after members of the Kenya Aviation Workers Union went on strike. Hundreds of passengers spent hours on the runway or had to reschedule their flights as operations at the airport came to a near halt. The workers are protesting low pay and poor working conditions. Here now is our reporter Jasmine Wamboi with the details of that developing story.
As at 5 p.m. today, more than 25 aircraft were held on the runway at JKIA, with departing flights delayed for hours. Passengers were forced to remain inside aircraft for extended periods as pilots waited for clearance amid air traffic control go-slow. An ex-user identified as Carol Musioka wrote, and I quote, "It's now 3:25 p.m. Our jumbo jet flight to Malindi was to depart at 10:45 a.m. Even Senator Boni Halwale, in a post on X, says he was forced to use the road after waiting for hours at the airport while traveling from Kisumu. Major carriers, including Kenya Airways and Tanzania's Precision Air, say they have had to overhaul their schedules, citing air traffic control and operational delays. In a statement, KQ asked passengers to brace for further adjustments, and there seems to be no end in sight just yet.
These are still the initial stages of our strike action, because in the coming hours we will be asking Kenya Airports Authority employees to join the strike.
The workers accuse the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority of stalling negotiations on the collective bargaining agreement. Workers are protesting low pay and poor working conditions.
We are immediately withdrawing all employees on duty now, all KA employees. We are asking them to leave and to go home. We are equally asking employees who are expected to report duty in the evening from KQ, from KAA, from Swissport, and all other ground handling companies not to report to duty.
Last week, KCAA obtained interim court orders suspending the planned strike, pending further directions this week. Despite the injunction, the union went ahead with the industrial action. Attempts by the government to broker a return-to-work deal failed, as Union Chair Mos Ndiema skipped a conciliation meeting convened by Labour Commissioner Helen Opio. KCAA is assuring the country that it has activated contingency measures, like moving staff around to cover critical departments to sustain essential services. Passengers are advised to contact their airlines for updates. JKIA handles approximately 9 million passengers every year and is a critical regional gateway linking Africa to the world. For now, flights remain delayed as the disputes shift from the courtroom to the runway. Jasmine Wambui, Citizen TV.
Now, the government has launched investigations into the alleged abuse and sexual exploitation of Kenyan women by a Russian national following the circulation of viral videos on social media. In a statement issued on Monday, the Ministry of Gender directed security agencies to pursue the matter with urgency, citing the seriousness of the allegations and the need for swift action. The ministry has called for collaboration with international authorities, noting that the cross-border nature of the case has to come to play. Citizen TV's Ben Kirui has more.
How you look? I like how you look.
Social media platforms were awash over the weekend with videos allegedly showing a Russian national during encounters with several women in Nairobi.
This is my room.
The videos are believed to have been recorded by the foreigner using smart glasses, show him approaching women before inviting them to his apartment. What transpired thereafter remains unclear, though a number of women claiming to be victims have since come forward with varying accounts. The matter has sparked widespread condemnation online, even as some of the alleged victims have faced the ridicule on social media. Following the circulation of the footage, the government has launched investigations, directing security agencies to urgently pursue the case. Gender Cabinet Secretary Hannah Cheptumo condemned the filming of the women without their consent, stating that such actions constitute a direct violation of personal dignity and the right to privacy as guaranteed under the Constitution. The Cabinet Secretary noted that the government views such violations not merely as criminal acts, but as serious threats to the social fabric of society, which is founded on respect, human dignity, and the protection of vulnerable persons.
You are married? Are you married?
Affected women have been urged to confidentially seek support, including counseling, legal referrals, psychosocial care, and protection services. Meanwhile, as authorities intensify efforts to trace the Russian national, it remains unclear when he entered or left the country. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
From that, a limited liability company run by a board of directors will oversee the operations of Kenya's 5 trillion shillings National Infrastructure Fund should a bill before Parliament become law. According to a bill sponsored by Leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wah, which has been tabled before Parliament, the fund aims at reducing reliance on public debt and tax for infrastructure financing, as well as attract private capital investment. The move comes as critics question the powers the National Treasury will have on the fund and what measures have been put in place to ensure it is not abused. Safina Chienguma has more.
The National Infrastructure Fund Bill of 2026, which now lies before Parliament, seeks to establish a new fund to invest in major projects such as roads, railways, ports, irrigation, and energy. The bill, which is sponsored by Leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wah, marks a major shift from reliance of public debt and taxation for infrastructure financing towards a model designed to attract private capital. The fund is seeking to mobilize about 5 trillion shillings to finance major long-term projects. Some of the pending infrastructure projects to be financed include the Galana-Kulalo Irrigation Project, the Rironi-Naivasha-Mau Summit Highway, and the standard gauge railway extension to Malaba, which President William Ruto has in the recent past insisted will not be funded by loans.
The railway you saw put in the framework that we negotiated in China, from now Naivasha all the way to Uganda, is also going to be built not by loans to the government of Kenya, but it's going to be built by investments.
While he sustains his ambition of making Kenya a first world economy through planned investment in major infrastructural projects, the head of state has maintained that he is seeking an alternative financing route. According to Clause 6 of the bill, the fund will operate like a limited liability company managed by a board of directors consisting of a chairperson, cabinet secretary in charge of National Treasury, or a representative, 4 independent directors, and a CEO as an ex officio member. While directors are to be recruited through a competitive process, they will still have to be appointed by the Cabinet Secretary through a Gazette notice. The Cabinet Secretary is also the one who will sign performance contracts with the board and evaluate the fund's performance. The fund is also expected to submit its report first to the Cabinet Secretary, who may make reports to be submitted to Cabinet and the National Treasury, with all disclosures posted on the Treasury website. While this appears like a clear governance structure promising transparency and accountability, critics have expressed reservations over the powers Treasury will have on the fund. This comes against the backdrop of major scandals like the Aror and Kimwarer dams and stalled SGR extensions, where Treasury controlled billions with weak checks. Members of the public are invited to submit their views on the bill before close of business on the 20th of February 2026. Safina Chienguma, Citizen TV.
All right, on that note, let's take a quick break. Commander Report. We're back with much more in just a short while, so don't go too far. Thanks for staying with the Monday Report. Now, Kiharu lawmaker Ndindi Nyoro has revisited the planned sale of Safaricom shares by the government, insisting that the process is marred by self-interest. Nyoro says that the price of Safaricom shares at the Nairobi Securities Exchange has dropped, and any further sale of the shares will occasion massive loss of public funds. Nyoro has further accused the National Assembly Committee on Finance of running shoddy public participation exercises, saying it is an extension of the executive.
So we are calling upon those people in government who are auctioning our assets for a song. A time has come when the markets themselves have betrayed you. The markets that you are hedging your narrative on is already past your transaction price. And therefore it is now time that Kenya halts and suspends the sale of Safaricom shares to Vodacom immediately, because Kenyans are already buying those shares at a cheaper price in the market.
Now, a suspect linked to deadly wave of illicit alcohol sweeping through Baringo, leaving a trail of broken families and deaths, pleaded guilty to the offense and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Another suspect pleaded not guilty and was detained, awaiting a decision on bail application. Miriam Nyambura now reports Eldama Ravine residents staged a demonstration to protest what they termed as laxity by authorities in dealing with the deadly brew.
Residents of Poror, Kiplombe, Kabimoi and Shauri villages in Baringo, where the sale and consumption of illicit liquor has wreaked havoc, leaving trails of fresh graves, took to the streets on Monday morning to protest the trade.
Kusema ukweli, nursery schools zimefungwa, wamama sisi tuna complain, our young men wamemalizwa na hii pombe, and today we are saying no to illicit brew. Tunataka wenye wameuzika waweze kukamatwa, watolewe kabisa from the society.
Tumechoka na sumu ambayo inauzwa katika mji wa Eldama Ravine na inapelekwa kwa vijiji na watu wanakunywa sumu. Sumu hii inaitwa ethanol.
The protests come even as the prime suspect, James Nderito, was charged with being in possession of 255 liters of suspected uncustomed ethanol, valued at 612,000 shillings, allegedly intended for illegal distribution. Authorities indicated the consignment would have attracted excise duty amounting to 452,880 shillings. He denied the charge before Chief Magistrate Boaz Ombewa. Another suspect, Christina Kabon, was also charged with being in possession of 160 liters of busa in contravention of the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 2 years in prison, with an option of paying a fine of 1 million shillings. The arrests are part of an ongoing crackdown on illicit brews and tax evasion in parts of Koibatek sub-county.
Tutawasilisha hoja kule bungeni tuweze kufanya legislation to amend bill ya hii mambo ya pombe. Mtu akishikwa kwa mambo ya pombe agona aje akupewa cash bill ama bond ya shilingi 500. Mtu ukishikwa na illicit brews ama kila aina ya miandarati ufungwa na uwekewe bond hata ya milioni 10.
Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Now, the child who disappeared a week ago had sparked widespread anxiety among residents, prompting a multi-agency security operation that led to the suspect's dramatic arrest, has been found. Now, according to Malindi Sub-County Police Commander Moses Kosgei, the suspect, identified as Arnold Ethan, a Ugandan national, was captured on CCTV footage, luring the young boy before abducting him and disappearing to an unknown location for a week. The suspect is now being held at Malindi Police Station and will be detained for 30 more days as investigations continue.
The suspect was arrested while attempting to cross Kenya-Tanzania border with the said child. He was arrested and taken to Lunga police station, of which afterward the suspect was handed to TCI Malindi for further investigation.
This suspect this morning
will be arraigned in court for custodial orders as we consider involving anti-human trafficking and child protection units, which can expedite the investigations. It involves a lot of piecing up of information and investigation.
Nilipomkosa ikabidi nimwambie jirani yangu mmoja wako na CCTV pale nje ajaribu kuniangalia kama mtoto wangu amechukuliwa na nani ndio nijue nitafanya vipi tena. Alivyoangalia alipata ni kijana mmoja ambaye ameajiriwa kazi hapo, pia anafanya kazi hapo kwa makucha. Yeye ndiye alikuwa amechukua mtoto na akatoka na yeye masaa ya saa 12:05.
All right, let's take another quick break here. We're back with business news in just a short while. But now, players in the tourism industry are calling for the adoption of a blended finance mechanisms to strengthen tourism, recovery and long-term sustainability. Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism is proposing combining public funds, private capital and development financing to unlock affordable financing while reducing risks for investors. Miano, who was speaking during the 4th Global Tourism Resilience Day in Nairobi, noted that the funds will support vulnerable destinations facing climate shocks and will, in turn, help protect jobs and safeguard lives.
The tourism sector continues to face a myriad of challenges, ranging from economic, geopolitical and security crises, digital security challenges, among others. It is these threats that the government hopes to cure through the establishment of the Resilience Fund for Vulnerable Destination, a special fund to be set up in collaboration with development partners.
We are proposing to have a tourism resilience fund at the global level and even regional level, country levels. There are very many ways, there are very many needs for such a fund. Preparing businesses to be resilient in terms of climate, in terms of the standards that they set, in terms of credibility, reputation, and very, very many others. And that is the financing gap that we find. We do not have enough.
Players in the continent have also been urged to focus on collaboration and not competition, where they can cooperate more and leverage on their strength to build a stronger position overall.
Tourism doesn't offer the hard competitiveness that is characterized by some of the heavy commodities and minerals that are in our space. Tourism brings people together. It invites people to move from one place to the other and in the process transfer wealth. And it is that process of transferring wealth that enables us to bring value to each other.
According to the ministry, tourism remains a critical sector of the Kenyan economy, attracting nearly 3 million inbound tourists while contributing 1.2 trillion shillings to the GDP and creating over 1.7 million jobs across the value chain. For players in the tourism sector, volatility has become the new norm, and that's why during this 4th Tourism Resilience Day here in Nairobi, they expect to come up with policy and ideas on how to make tourism more sustainable in the future. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Well, Kenya made history as the first African country to pass a standalone cryptocurrency law, positioning itself as a regulatory trailblazer. The move has accelerated adoption, with Kenyans transacting an estimated $500 million monthly in stable coins. But industry players warn that uncertainty over taxation, licensing and regulator roles could slow innovation and push investment offshore. Stakeholders urge clear subsidiary regulations from the Central Bank, Capital Markets Authority and the National Treasury to turn Kenya's legal milestone into a growth engine for Africa's crypto sector.
Stablecoin is changing how money moves globally. Last year, $62 trillion moved on stablecoin rails. Remittance services, business payments, supplier invoice payments, a lot of use cases currently happening on stablecoin rails.
Kenya stands as the central point of venture capital in Africa, and it's important that the regulation doesn't stop the burgeoning industry.
All right, welcome back to the programme. My name is Emmanuel Ndungu. Let's get into the sports news.
World Rugby is yet to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic as sponsorship for their main tournaments was significantly cut. The board was forced to restructure the World Sevens Rugby Series into Division 1, 2 and 3 to save costs with fewer tournaments and fewer teams on the tour. Kenya was relegated to Division 2, but that came as a blessing in disguise as Kenya Rugby hosted one of the best Sevens rugby tournaments with high attendance for 2 days. Our sports editor, Michael Kinney, was at the Nyayo Stadium and looks at the turnout on both days of the competition.
The calm before the storm. With tickets sold out 2 weeks before the event, many rugby fans were at the Nyayo National Stadium early to get the best seats before the competition started. The village was the place to report to first before streaming into the stadium. The early matches were played with a handful of fans only. But come early afternoon, the stadium was packed to the rafters, the fans eager to watch their teams in action. With every play, with every success on the pitch, the crowd went wild. It was the perfect weekend plan, the place to be for both rugby fans and non-rugby fans. The two big football clubs in Kenya, Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards, were playing away from Nairobi. Some of their fans did not travel and brought the football vibe to the rugby event.
The atmosphere has been great. The people out here have been rowdy, very energetic. It's been very cultural defining. Isikuti ilikuwa inachezwa hapa. It's been so fun.
Ina tuliingojea tangu last year. Wenye tu walituambia inakuja Kenya. Tulichangamka. Unasikia hata ticket zilienda 1 month before game. Tulikuwa tumeingojea na siku imefika. Na tumejitokeza, unaweza ona hata numbers.
I'm really excited to be here today. I've watched the Lionesses play and honestly it's great seeing women in this field.
The tournament had the men and the women matches played on the same pitch. Each team played the other ones over the 2 days, giving the fans plenty to enjoy. Players from the different teams took time to appreciate the fans for showing up and turning up the volume.
Kenyan fans are crazy, and we appreciate them. Yeah, I hope World Rugby will bring more tournaments like this in Kenya.
The Kenyan crowd's incredible. You can feel the floor shaking. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Have you experienced this anywhere else in the world? Never before in my life. I think it's completely unique and I absolutely loved it.
It's crazy, it's enjoyable. It's amazing how the fans cheer up for the national team. I hope that in all the union, all the fans will be like that.
You can see the fan base. So it's about time. Yeah, even if we qualify back to Division 1, it's going to be a good one if we have the series here at home.
And World Rugby listened. They witnessed it all, and Kenya's definitely taken them back to the drawing board.
You've shown that you can stage a tournament of this nature without a problem. You have bigger crowds than in Australia, and I want to remind Brett Robinson, my chairman of the board, that Kenya can deliver even better than Australia, and that is what is important.
In the end, none of the Kenya teams finished at the top, but they gave the fans value for their money as the curtains came down on the tournament with song and dance and a lot to celebrate.
It started off with the Chan football tournament, now it has gone to the rugby series. And what the fans are saying and the players alike is that Kenya is ripe for the top tournaments across all sports in the world. Michael Kinney for Citizen TV at the Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi County.